And welcome to another episode of PWT Talks NXT. I'm your host for the evening, Nate Lindberg. And we're here to talk NXT for September 2nd, 2025. David, thank you for joining me here tonight. I went live to start the show just as you joined. So I didn't just start to like throw you off. You joined as we were starting.
Perfect timing.
Yes, perfect timing. Perfect timing. But yeah, thanks for filling in for Kelly tonight. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Glad to
As
be here.
always. As always. All right, so we had a pretty action-packed episode tonight here. Our main event, we had Obafemi, Ricky Saints, and Hank and Tank versus Dark State. We ended up seeing Hank and Tank, Ricky Saints, and Obafemi take the win here, but not before some shenanigans happened. This match I thought was pretty fun. It looked like Ricky Saints, Obafemi, Hank and Tank were just having a ton of fun.
Yeah.
You could see Obafemi doing the Ricky Saints pose and things like that, and you could kind of see like Ricky smile a little bit, laugh, and it almost like it took him off guard, like he wasn't necessarily expecting it. Oba kind of laughed too, like almost a little character breaking moment there. At least would seem like for me, just looked like they were having a good time, like a lot of fun out there. And then of course. Obafemi, Ricky Saints, they're kind of rivals right now too. Ricky laid claim to the NXT championship. Of course, as the match progresses, the two of them wind up in a brawl that ended up bringing them backstage. Leaving Hank and Tank out there alone to face Dark State. And that is when I believe it was Hank who got to the bright idea to
say his name and he appears.
I had to. And all of a sudden, Joe Hendry shows up on the apron and makes a distraction, allowing Hank and Tank to pick up the win. I thought it was kind of a brilliant finish, to be completely honest with you. I love Joe Hendry. That said, I'm also a little bit like, and this is kind of how I've been feeling about Dark State. I also feel like this kind of made Dark State look a little bit weak, but we'll get into that. David, what did you think of the match, the finish, and your thoughts on Dark? Whoa! I accidentally hit my enter key and started it again.
Where is he?
And yeah, where'd he go? Where is he? But yeah, the match, the finish, and Obafemi, Ricky Saints, and all of that.
Yeah, I agree that it was a fun match while it lasted. With Ricky Saints doing the Oba strut on the top rope and tagging in Oba. When Oba hit the Saints pose, he smiled so big at Saints, and Saints just grinned really big. Like it did. I thought the same thing. It seemed like they were genuinely having fun out there and teaming together. And of course, we knew, and I said in my report, I said, yeah, it looks like you're really having fun. It's not going to last. Because I mean, with Saints and Femi being rivals, you knew that they were going to eventually have a disagreement of some sort, some kind of mistimed move in the ring, and then they were going to do the thing, which they did all the way until the end of the show and beyond. Also got a kick out of the four-way belly bump that they did too on Cutler James, who just kind of sank down to the mat. But yeah, I, I, even though, like you said, the end was like you said, is brilliant. It's kind of like Billy Batson saying Shazam. The lightning bolt strikes, and only in this case, here's Joe Hendry. So, um, I mean, yeah, I'm not crazy about Dark State taking a loss, but I will say this: I think their character development has been coming a long way recently. That's one of the things I've been complaining about is who are these guys? Why are they here? And that video segment they showed, that was the best video segment that Dark State has had since they since they
Yeah.
came to NXT. It showed in it showed where they came from. It showed clips of them as security for some of the past superstars. It showed clips from NXTs of days gone by where they were nobodies and got treated as such, and it really gave us a sense of seeing where these guys came from, and including Bully Ray telling one of them that if you're in my promotion, I'd fire you, or something along those lines. So that was a great segment. I think that kind of makes up for it a little bit because I think their character development is definitely going in the right way.
No, I would agree with you there. I like the character development. That's one of the things that I've also said too on the show is I want to know more about who the heck Dark State is.
Yeah,
It was just on last week's show that I finally remembered all four of their names, which is saying something, So I really liked this that video package tonight because it did give us some more to sink our teeth into for these characters, kind of
yeah,
give us a bit of an explanation as to why they're doing what they're doing and in this faction together. But at the same time, like, I guess it makes sense for them to look maybe be a little bit weaker than the NXT champion and the number one contender. I could make the case for it. I'm not sold on it, but I can make the case for it. But Dark State, Hank and Tank, I don't know. I mean, they're more of a comedy tag team. They've been pushed as more of a legitimate, credible team as of late, but it doesn't seem. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that to me. I love Hank and Tank. Don't get me wrong, love them, but to be
yeah.
credible against Dark State is just, I don't know, a little to me. Is what it is, but whatever. So I don't know. I think this might have made Dark State look a little foolish considering they ended up losing to a team that couldn't hold it together, and two of them ended up leaving.
Right.
But is what it is, I guess. The other thing, that was a little bit interesting, and actually Ryan Slario brings this up in the chat. I did not think we'd be seeing Oba doing the honk honk. And there's two parts of this. Like, I'm kind of on the fence because I enjoyed seeing Oba doing that and kind of having some of these comedy spots and stuff. But I'm like, do I really want to see the ruler, the destroyer, like honking with Hank and Tank? Like, does it define him down? Or those are all the things that were going through my head watching that. Ultimately, I don't think it does, but I don't know. It was entertaining nonetheless. Anything else on the main event segment before we move on?
I liked it because it was so out of character for Oba Femi. And it's not, as long as it's not something we see on a regular basis, which it won't be. I mean, I thought it was fine, and I really got a kick out of it because here's again here is the ruler doing the honk honk and doing the Ricky Saints pose, and it was just it was ridiculous, but it was fun. I don't think it hurt over Femi at all, and definitely the brawl after as the show was going off the air, that you can see, okay, these guys are going to have one hell of a fight,
Yeah.
and coming up here really soon. So, no, and as far as Hank and Tank, they are what they are. I'm kind of surprised that they took it, but with Henry coming in the way he did, I fully expected Dark State to win because again, in those type of matches where you put two rivals on the same team, that they're not going to be, that there's going to be miscommunication. They're not going to work together in the end. You know how that's going to turn out. They're going to get in each other's way, and it's going to allow the heels to win. That's the standard WWE booking 101. But it didn't happen that way tonight. They threw a monkey wrench in by the name of Joe Hendry, and I thought the outcome was just fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like you said. I think 'cause I thought that like Dark State was absolutely going to take it, especially once we saw Oba and Ricky have their little
Yeah.
kerfuffle. And but yeah, I mean, very formulaic and things like that, but they didn't stick to the formula tonight. So I got to give them credit for
Yeah.
that, to try and keep us on our toes and things.
Yeah.
But man, I want to, obviously Dark State got the win at Heat Wave and won the NXT titles, but I'd like to see Dark State continue to win and continue to be dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward here, but for sure, I'm looking forward to Ricky and Oba. I think that match, when it does finally happen, I'm assuming at No Mercy, is that's going to be, as JR would say, a barn burner, a slobber knocker,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
maybe it might reach slobber knocker status. We'll see. Um,
It'd be a banger for sure.
yes, banger after banger. All right, let's keep rolling backwards here. We had Andre Chase versus Josh Briggs. This match came earlier because earlier in the night, actually, we got a lot to talk about before we get there. So why don't we not talk about that just yet? And I'm going through all my notes now. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we will. We'll talk about it. So, Josh Briggs earlier in the night comes out. Yeah, it was against Javon Evans. There we go. Found my notes. Found my
Yeah.
notes now.
Yeah.
Javon Evans. Javon Evans first comes out and kind of addresses the crowd, apologizes for his loss at Heat Wave. He was very emotional about letting all of the fans down. All of a sudden, we hear the gong and the Undertaker's music, and then it's Josh Briggs that comes out. Did they actually play Undertaker's music? I heard the gong. I don't remember
No,
they played
just
the
the
music.
gong. Just the
Okay.
gong.
All
Yeah.
right, so just the gong, and then it was Josh Briggs that made his way out.
And of course, before that, you saw the motor. They showed the motorcycle on the big screen. Javon Evans is, he's looking up at the screen like, oh, like dad. Dad's coming home, and
I'm in trouble.
yeah, I'm in trouble. It's like, no, and then they showed you heard the motorcycle pulling up, and no, and then you heard the gong. The crowd goes nuts. And then Josh Briggs comes out, and he got some Dominic Mysterio heat there.
Oh my God, he did.
Yes, they were drowning him out. You could barely hear what he was saying on the microphone. They were booing him very, very loudly. So, and Evans, that was the most genuine promo I've seen out of Javon Evans. I know I've really I've been hard on him in the past about his promos, but that came across as very genuine. He was very in a very somber mood. He didn't come out there slobbering all over the camera like he usually does when he first enters. But he was very subdued and just sounded like he was speaking from the heart. And then Josh Briggs comes out there, like a bully and giving him a hard time. Well, why didn't you ask for a rematch? And if I were you, I'd and then he boots um, he boots Evans in the face there, but yeah, in the back, he goes to the back, and then everyone else is back there, and he's walking in there again like the classroom bully, and of all people, Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors come up, and I don't like how you treated Javon Evans,
They have a
and
death wish.
well, we're gonna teach you a lesson. We're gonna put you're gonna be taught a lesson. Andre Chase is gonna go in there and be Andre Chase is saying like, what are you guys doing? And they basically talked him into a match that he did not want a part of. He could obviously tell, but did you catch that? One thing that stays with me is when that match, since we're trying to get to the matches, Josh Briggs' body language before the match started. That was just he's leaning up against the ropes with his elbows on the top rope, just kind of grinning, like yeah, and I'm like, man, he's got this down here. But yeah, that was what did you think of the match here? The match itself.
No, I really enjoyed this. Like, I Josh Briggs, I feel like he's finally maybe starting to find his place as a single heel. Over the last handful of weeks, his promos have been very effective, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded, very convincing and all of that. Coming, when he walked into the back and, Raya Connors and Cale Dixon come up to him and, start like, you're supposed to be a locker room leader and all of this stuff. And he's like, I never, like, never said that, but whatever, it was just this kind of nonchalant, like, I don't really care what you're saying, but whatever, I'm going to kick your ass anyway, or kick your teacher's ass anyway. Um, it certainly worked. Andre Chase, I feel like um, uh, he played his part very well here. Tried to be scrappy but he knew from the get-go he did not have a win under his. He's not going to have a win under his belt here tonight. Ryan Solario in the chat. When was he the locker room leader? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, granted, he's been in the NXT locker room now for 4 years, which blows my mind. That he said that on the show, so I didn't look it up, but I'll believe what he said. He's the one who's been there. So he's been there for a while, maybe a little bit longer than other people. Former Evolve champion and things like that. So maybe he had been looked at as a locker room leader, but I don't remember them ever telling us that on TV that he's any sort of a locker room leader or somebody that people look up to backstage.
I must have missed that episode.
Yeah, me too. But no, I mean, I think it's pretty effective to kind of further the story with Josh Briggs, and kind of make him look a little bit more dominant, and a bit more of a chaotic wild card, I guess, is a good way to put it. So yeah, thumbs up for me. Thumbs up for me on that.
Yeah, Briggs is really improving. I mean, I'm starting to actually care about him.
Yeah.
And because he just in that the way he walked into the locker room and he's just acting like a bully, and he's doing it well. And like I said, the body language he showed before the match with just the nonchalant leaning up against the corner, like, yeah, let's get this over with, kid. And and Andre knew he was overmatched, but he tried. I personally don't see how anyone can wrestle in a sweater, but oh well.
Oh God, it's got to be so hot.
Oh yeah, I don't see. I don't know which would be worse, wearing a mask like Axiom or wearing a sweater like Andre Chase. But it was what it was. It was a chance for, and then of course after the match, Briggs bails out and he beats up Dixon and Connors too. But he put Dixon down, put Connors through the announce table, and so that furthered his agenda there and his character development of just being just a belligerent bully.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna work for him, But like you said, I'm also kind of struggling to necessarily care. I think I'm caring a little bit more so now than I was, like, for a while, and especially back when he was still teaming up with Brooks Jensen. But but I don't know. I'm hopeful that he's going to get over a little bit more, especially after that heat tonight. After teasing the Undertaker, it reminded me so much of that episode of Raw in 2002, 2003, whenever it was. Maybe it was a bit later than that, when Shawn Michaels came out in I think it was in Montreal, and played Bret Hart's music.
Yeah.
Teasing everybody, Bret Hart was coming in and just started laughing because Bret Hart wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was what was going through my head during that segment, and I thought it was pretty effective. Tease the Undertaker and piss off the crowd, get some heat. It was great. Ryan let me know it was 05. Appreciate it. All right, let's keep moving on here. We had our next, the third match of the night was Kylie Armstrong versus Jordan Grace. Kylie Armstrong being the current reigning Evolve champion. This came to place earlier in the night. We had a backstage segment with Ariana Grace, Stax, Blake Monroe, Jordan Grace, and I want to call her Carly for some reason, Carly Armstrong. Um, and first we saw Ariana Grace kind of flirting with Stax, so we see where that goes. We didn't really get any more from just kind of a quick little interaction there, but we've already seen them with that little flirtatious thing before, so we'll see where that goes for the former member of the D'Angelo family. Um, and Ariana Grace or Blake Monroe walks in, talks to Ariana Grace about Jordan Grace. Ariana tells her that even though we have the same last name, we're not related. Made sure to clarify it and said that she had a big issue with JG herself. Jordan Grace ends up interrupting and like basically beelines for Blake Monroe. You see in the background, Kylie Armstrong sitting on a couch, and she immediately gets up and tries to break up the fight, as did oh my God, why can't I think of her name? Nikki, I want to say Bella, and it's not Nikki Bella. Um,
I
Nikita,
forgot.
Nikita,
Oh, Nikki
Nikita,
Lyons.
Nikita Lyons, Nikita Lyons. I knew it would come to me eventually.
Yeah,
What the heck was she wearing too? Like
Big
she
Cat
had this
Kita.
like, yeah, I don't know. She had this like this crown of like thorns or something on. It was weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's Nikita Lyons.
yeah.
But Colleen Armstrong broke it up and basically called Jordan Grace out for interrupting her match a month or two prior to that, just to kind of make a statement. So Kylie calls her out, and we ended up having a match between the two. I thought this match was really, really good.
Hmm.
I haven't seen much of Evolve at all. I've only actually watched one episode, to be honest. But I've seen some things, Kylie Armstrong on social media and whatnot. I certainly like what we see so far. Um, she really took it to Jordan Grace. Jordan did wind up getting the win here, um, but it was after a pretty long fought battle. I don't have the time on me exactly at the moment, but um, uh, I thought she looked pretty good. Jordan Grace, like I said, did get the win. Um, it I don't know. There's part of me that would have kind of liked to see the Evolve champion go over, but Jordan Grace did just lose the pay-per-view. She's kind of been on a bit of a losing streak. Vic Joseph even said she picked up a much needed win here tonight. Um, so glad to see her get the win. Sucks that it kind of came over the Evolve champion because I would have liked to maybe see them push the Evolve champion a bit more, but she at least got screen time tonight. That's, I mean, invaluable anyway, whether win or lose. So, we'll see if anything continues between Jordan and Kylie Armstrong. But this did end up furthering the feud between Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe made her way out after the match to attack Jordan Grace. Two of them got in a scuffle ringside, and it looked like, and I couldn't really tell. I think they said Jordan busted Blake's mouth open, but it almost looked like her nose was bleeding. So I couldn't tell exactly where the blood was coming from the camera angle, but they did say mouth. And the look on Blake Monroe's face was just like you could see the fire in her eyes as the blood was kind of dripping down her face. There's definitely more coming for this feud. So David, on the match and the feud between Monroe and Grace, Jordan Grace, not
Well,
Ariana Grace.
no, because they're not related at all. I'm surprised they've not made one of them change their name. But anyway, no, I was glad to see Kelly Armstrong get the time that she had in this and the offense that she had because when she had the last her debut match on NXT, and she was literally only in the ring less than a minute before Jordan Grace came out there and obliterated her opponent, um, Stone and Turner and anyone else that got in her way. I was really disappointed because I do evolve on Wednesday nights, so I see these people. And I know from seeing Callie Armstrong for a long time, this girl has got something. She's a big, strong girl. She's extremely athletic. She can talk, and she's one of the blue chippers of Evolve. So I was glad to see her get the amount of offense that she had against Jordan Grace. I normally would not like to see a champion get pinned like that either. However, number one, it is Jordan Grace, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's if it had been Fallon
Tatum
Henley or
Paxley
something like
or
or
something.
Tatum
Yeah.
Paxley, yeah, I would have had a serious issue with it. But it's Jordan Grace, okay? Jordan Grace is gonna and Kelly Armstrong, despite being the Evolve Women's Champion, she's still very young and experienced talent, and that's what Evolve is. They're going to evolve into more experienced talent, but they're not there yet. But Kelly Armstrong, as you can obviously see, very talented. She throws some great punches. I mean, if you saw some of the punches that she throws, Robert Stone had at one point compared her punches to Ronnie Garvin and Jerry Lawler.
Wow.
So it's and she does throw great punches, and her finisher, the Cali connection, where she starts running the ropes and picking up speed, kind of like Braun Breaker does. Only it's more or less like a pounce type maneuver. Yeah, she is almost as fast. Yeah, good point, Ryan. She is almost as fast as Braun Breaker of those ropes. When she hits that Cali connection, she knocks her opponent into the middle of next week. It just so happened this time she ran into a back elbow or a back fist by Jordan Grace, which was the beginning of the end. But yeah, I saw and Blake Monroe comes out like she means business, and they get in that little scuffle outside. And I didn't see. I even backed it up to try to see where the blow took place. I couldn't tell, but yeah, at first I thought it was her nose as well, but then it looked like it was coming from her mouth, and it was really gushing a little bit. I saw a
Yeah.
couple of big gushes of blood come out. So she took a hard hit somewhere there. But yeah, the look on her face, she was shaking with rage.
Yeah.
She
She
was
really was.
she was shaking with rage, and part of that could have been a little bit, a little bit real too, because she did get busted pretty hard there. She had to have gotten busted pretty hard in the mouth to be bleeding like she was.
Yeah. And
Not,
I went.
not.
I went. Or sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, not that there's gonna be a real heat between the two, but yeah, there was, yeah, she got her bell rung for real.
Yeah, no, I think she did. I went back too and I watched the whole interaction between the two of them again, and I don't even see where she got hit. It must have been, there was a bunch of like forearms and fists flying, so I'm assuming it
I
was just
think it
kind of
was
a,
when they were on the floor. I think it's
yeah,
when they were on the floor, and when Jordan was throwing forearms that are on the floor. I think she must have caught her in the mouth then, because when they were still standing, no, but yeah, it had to have happened on the floor. But yeah, it was. You immediately see everyone pull out the rubber gloves, when and so oh, there's a drop of blood. Let's get our biohazard suits on here. So,
uh,
um,
all I have is that visions of Samoa Joe getting busted open a takeover, and then everybody, let them fight, and Joe's just getting pissed off. Uh, I'm glad they don't quite, it's not quite that bad anymore,
yeah,
um, but safety is also important.
yes, yes,
Um, no, I like I said, I like this, see where this brings the feud for Monroe and Jordan Grace. I'm assuming this is going to carry out into No Mercy. Um, uh, and I'm almost expecting it to be like some sort of a gimmick match. It may
I think
not
it has
be,
to be. I
but
think it pretty much has to be at this point,
yeah,
really, because and I've been very critical of Monroe's character so far as well, and I think rightfully so, because it's been kind of cartoonish. But I really liked the fire that she showed tonight. And she was coming out to the ring. She marched out to the ring with a purpose. She was
yeah,
ready. Not cowering from Grace like she has been in the past. Trying to run from her and cowered away from her. But no, she was coming out there to for a fight, and she got one. And I'm looking forward to the next time they meet in the ring. It's going to be a good one.
Ryan Slorio first blood match? Oh, maybe after that they turn it into a story.
Mm-hmm. No, let's not go
Probably
there.
not. Yeah, probably not. But no, I could see it turning into like, Extreme Rules match or Falls Count Anywhere, or hell, bring back the Fight Pit. I want another Fight Pit match.
Yeah. Have they ever
I
had
can't.
When's the last time they had a cage match in NXT?
Oof, it's been a little while. I actually don't know. I don't remember. Not in recent memory. Let's put it that way. Somebody in the chat may know, but yeah, off the top of my head, I feel like it's been quite a while since there's been a cage match in NXT.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's got to be some sort of a stipulation there, just with how long this feud's been going and
Yeah.
kind of how intense. Well, actually, it hasn't been going that long, but how intense it's been. Maybe they'll come up with a muscle muffin match. I don't know what that would be, but it's fun to say.
I
Uh,
I gotta admit, I've been critical of Blake Monroe's character, but I love that.
muscle muffin.
That's
Yeah,
so
it's just,
funny.
oh, I loved it. I was when I went to Heatwave, there were only spatters of them, and I don't know if you could hear them on TV. I haven't actually watched the recording of Heatwave, but you could hear them in the building, just spatterings of like muscle muffin chants.
Yeah, I heard it. I
Yeah,
remember hearing it. So yeah.
yeah.
It was
All
an
right.
interesting looking venue. I noticed that they held that. And was that ring up on a stage?
So the ring wasn't on a stage. It wasn't when it was in Philadelphia. So the Philadelphia show was in a very similar building to the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. I forget the name of the building in Philadelphia, but it was actually, they had it up on a stage for that show. For Heatwave, no. The hard cam was up on stage, as well as the Tron was up on the stage. So it was kind of weird. The hard cam was actually below the Tron. And so you really didn't see that much on TV. They showed it, I think, a couple times from what I remember. But yeah, it's a really cool venue. And
Was it on a platform of some kind? Because I saw the ring was elevated, wasn't it?
No. The ring was just in the middle of the theater, because basically it's a theater. So they clear out all the seats kind of in the center, and the ring wasn't on a platform. Like I said, for the Philadelphia show, it was on the stage. I don't know, maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Because it did look similar.
I'm sorry. I was thinking.
Yeah, but yeah, it's such an iconic building, the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. It's a building where Finn Balor won Finn Balor lost the NXT title to Samoa Joe. I was sitting in the bleachers for that, or well, the balcony.
Yeah, they were talking about the history of that auditorium there, and
yeah, it's where Shawn lost his smile back in the day. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great venue to watch wrestling. It's small. I mean, I think it's maybe 3,000 seats. I mean, it's small place. But that means it's not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the old Evansville Coliseum that I used to go to when I was a kid to see Memphis wrestling. It's one of those very historic place. Only held about 4,000 people. If you packed them in, but yeah, I love watching wrestling, and those types of venues are the best.
Yeah, I agree. I'd almost rather go to a small venue than a big arena to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep on moving. Let's keep going with matches. We had our first WWE speed match here on NXT. I don't know how I feel about this, but at least we got Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano on the same show, and Tommaso on the same show.
Yeah. I forgot about them.
We'll talk about DIY in a little bit. I have a DIY tattoo. I'm excited. Anyway, but we had a speed match, Candice LeRae versus Xia Brookside. Happy to see Xia Brookside back here in WWE, even though she's still a TNA superstar, TNA wrestler. They're not superstars over there. They're wrestlers. But the the daughter of the legendary Robbie Brookside. Um, she's fantastic. So glad to see
Yeah.
her back here. She did unfortunately lose to Candice LeRae, but I think it does make sense. Candice LeRae was the inaugural speed champion, for our women's speed champion. This is the first speed match I have ever watched, period. I did not watch, and I think that probably, hey, it was for Booker too. Booker even admitted it. It was the first one he's watched. But I don't know. I mean, I don't really like the concept. I think it kind of, why can you beat somebody in 3 minutes just because it's for a speed title, whereas you in 3 minutes the match is just barely getting going most nights, you know? Um, one thing that I did like, and actually I was about to bring it up, Ryan just brought it up, that every minute of the speed match the lights change. So when the match starts, you still got 3 minutes on the clock. Or was it 5 minutes? I forget. It was 5 minutes, I think.
3 minutes.
Was 3 minutes? Okay.
3 minutes. Yeah,
3 minutes on the clock. Everything's green. The speed logo was green. All the lights in the building were green. They went to like yellow and then orange and then red as the time ticked down. So I thought that was kind of cool to give that little bit of a visual, make things seem a little bit more hurried and stuff. But I don't know. I wish they'd just do away with the whole speed concept. I don't see the point for it. For social media, sure. Whatever. You want to do it for social, fine. On NXT, they already have so many titles. They're showing Evolve titles. They're showing TNA titles. Why do we need another title? When everybody has a championship around their waist, nobody's a champion. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Still a great match, I thought. It was fun for what it was, and high energy and explosive. Candice hit a tornado DDT into a senton to a moonsault for the win. And Larea advances in the tournament. How did you feel about WWE speed matches?
That was my first speed match as well. I was vaguely aware of the concept of it, but this was the first one I ever seen. I actually didn't catch the lights thing. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because that I don't know why I didn't catch that. But yeah, Zaya Brookside, immensely talented lady, extremely, and of course, with her dad, why wouldn't she be very good? And then, of course, Candice LeRae, she, as you said, she was I believe she was the inaugural speed champion, was she not?
Yes, she was. Yep.
Yeah. And, she's better suited in matches like this with someone who's much closer to her size and style. But as far as the concept goes, I'm not sure about it. I was not sure about it when they started the match. At first, I thought it was going to be, kind of like the Heritage Cup, where see how many falls he can get in 3 minutes or something like that. But I from what I understand, I guess they have 3 minutes in order to finish the
win.
match. Is that
Yep.
three?
Yep.
I guess you can look at it as like, okay, hey, this is gonna have to be boom, 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 because I gotta get a gotta get a quick win, gotta get a quick win. So I might be able to buy into that concept. And I mean, it's going to be it's going to be 3 exciting minutes. Wouldn't want a whole show. Wouldn't want to watch a whole show like that. But I'm not even so. I the extra title. Yeah, I know there has to be way too many titles. I've not watched much AEW, but I've been trying to get into that lately. I notice about every other guy who comes out there, they got like a trios title. They got a international title. They got like 18%, and then you got Mercedes Moné walking out there with like 9 titles that nobody's ever heard of.
And then you've also got all the Ring of Honor titles too.
Yeah, you got all that stuff. So yeah, I get it with all the extra, but with this title, it's kind of like the Heritage Cup. There's some different rules that makes it stand out from the other championships. I don't have a problem with that. So, but yeah, good match. I'm anxious to see. Let's see who do we have next week again? In
Oh,
that.
oh, if you didn't ask me, I could have told you. Um, we had there's somebody coming from AAA and somebody on
Oh
Raw.
yeah, yeah. I think it's was it Lady Apache or something like that. I'm not too familiar with the AAA ladies,
Yeah, me
but
either.
her and who is she going against on from somebody
I'm
from
trying to look it up real
it
quick
was
here.
someone from Raw, right?
Yeah, it was somebody, I believe it was somebody from Raw.
Anybody in the chat?
And we'll see if anybody comes in the chat with that. But
Yeah.
um,
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it because ultimately why? Because ultimately it leads to a match with Sol Ruka, and I would pay money to watch that woman wrestle a broomstick because she could have. I mean, she is just phenomenal. She's one of the greatest female wrestlers I've seen in a very long time. If you put her and Kalani Jordan in the ring, I've said it a million times. Put her and Kalani Jordan in the ring together, and I will sit back and watch those two wrestle for hours because they can go and they
oh
are
God, they
good
can.
together. I mean,
Yeah.
they are magical together. So, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I'm expecting, you know, could be, it could be Candice LeRae back against Soul, but I'm not sure. It depends on. I seriously doubt that the AAA um, lady will be a factor in it, just because it's AAA and
Ah, Ryan coming in. Ryan coming in clutch. Laney Reed and a Lady
Laney. There we
Apache.
go. I was okay. I was right with Lady Apache. I forgot about Laney Reed because they've not
That's
made
right.
that big of a deal out of her lately. But I now knowing who it is, I think it's going to be Laney Reed. I think it might be Laney Reed versus Soul.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Jobin just chimed in on my Discord, letting me know that there's only been two women's speed champions, Candice and Sol. So there's obviously that story to tell, where you've got Candice LeRae and Sol Ruka. Candice wants her title back and stuff, and
Yeah.
they did actually say that tonight in commentary that Candice wants to shot her title back.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, Lainey Reed, I do like that idea. She's obviously starting to get a bit of a push. Why
Yeah.
not? I mean, as even though I just said if everybody's got a title, nobody's champion. Why not put a title on her? And
Candace
kind of,
doesn't really need it. I
yeah,
mean,
Candice
honestly,
doesn't.
she doesn't need it.
No, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, Candice is one of the most underrated wrestlers in WWE on male
Yeah.
and female side. But she doesn't need it. She's phenomenal talent,
She's
as she
established.
is. Yeah,
She.
exactly. She's already established. Lainey Reed, I think, she could certainly use it to kind of start to tell her story and get herself over a little bit.
Yeah.
So either way they go, yeah, I think it'll be fun. Um, and then, of course, I mean, while we're talking about speed, the men's speed champion is, of course, El Grande Americano. So I don't know, and like the picture on WWE.com of the champion is of Chad Gable with the mask. So where they haven't mentioned the men's speed champion, are they waiting for Chad to come back? Are we going to wind up seeing um, Ludwig Kaiser under the mask come down to defend the title? I don't know,
You know
but
what it's going to come to, Nate? I'll tell you what it's going to come down to. Do you remember the Undertaker versus the Undertaker for SummerSlam?
I do. I do.
Brian Lee. Yeah, we're going to have El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano.
I like that. Or maybe they do a fatal four-way. El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano versus El Grande. That's a tongue twister to try and
Yeah.
say it four times in a row. Um, Ryan makes a good point. We don't know that Chad or Ludwig are Americano, so I'm making assumptions here.
Yes, yes.
You know,
We're making educated guesses here.
yes. Um, But yeah. So for my my first outing with the speed match, I mean, I think it was better than what I expected. But I'm still not sold on the concept being on NXT. For like I said, for social media or something, sure, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll win me over as time goes on. But
I'm not sure why they. I'm not sure why it ended. Honestly, on
I
its own.
think
It's on YouTube, right?
it was on Twitter, so it was a Twitter
Or Twitter.
exclusive.
I'm sorry, Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or an X. I'm sorry, Elon.
yeah.
X. It was a Twitter exclusive. Notice I just went back to calling it Twitter. And I believe if the contract ended up running out and they didn't re-sign it or whatever, and so they rather than getting rid of the division, they did it this way. Which is, like I said, it's fine. I
Wasn't
understand,
that kind of like? What was it kind of something? Because I never, obviously, like I said, I never watched it. Was it kind of like the? What was that thing that they did on Facebook here years ago?
oh,
The
mixed match challenge.
yeah, that yeah, was it
Yeah,
something
it
like
was
that?
kind of sort of something because like if you noticed they wouldn't talk about the speed title on TV really unless they were promoting
Yeah,
speed.
right.
The like when Ricochet was a speed champion, he never walked out with the speed title unless it was for a speed match. Same thing
They
with
ignored.
Grande.
Yeah,
Yeah, on
they ignored Sol Ruca's belt until
until now, yeah,
now,
because
and
it
then
was yeah,
yeah.
as far as I'm aware, that it was part of the contract that you could only show the belt on X unless you're promoting it or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, so yeah, like so that's why like
Makes
nobody
sense.
ever walked out with the belt. You never really saw the belt until recently on main on main TV. Um, but yeah, like I said, we'll see. We'll see it happens.
Yeah.
I'd love now that you said mixed match challenge. I would love to see them bring that back. That was great.
Yeah, that was yeah. That I want to see that, and and another Mae Young Classic. I think they should do another Mae Young Classic.
I
That
was
was
I was actually thinking that tonight because Zaya Brookside brought up the fact that she was in the Mae Young Classic.
yeah.
It's been, I mean, God, I can't believe it's been. Wow, because that was the first thing I ever covered for the Torch was the Mae Young Classic, and that was a long time ago at this
Really.
point. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that because they literally they did bring in women from all over
all
the
over.
world, and look at the people that were in there
Yeah,
that we had never heard of at the time. Some tall blonde Australian chick named Rhea Ripley,
yeah.
and Tony Storm and Mia
Kaylee
Yim.
Ray and yeah, Mia
It's just
Yim.
and look where some of these women are now, and it's like wow, I wish they would do something like that. I wish they would, and
Yeah,
if they brought Evolution back, I think they will probably do another Reunion Classic.
it'd be cool to see, or
Yeah,
like another Cruiserweight Classic or something like that
yeah,
too.
oh yeah,
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 but I mean, it's been a while since we have a tournament. We had tournaments all the time, the Dusty Classic and all this stuff. It's been a bit. I
yeah.
mean, I think the last tournament we had was the breakout tournament that Kalani Jordan and I don't even remember the male competitor that won.
Mm,
Um,
I don't either.
might have been Javon now that I think about it, but
Mm,
I don't remember. But anyway, um, we went off on a bit of a tangent, so
yeah,
bringing it right on back here. Our opening match, I think that's yeah, opening match tonight. Lash Legend versus Jada Parker. These two have been kind of at each other's throats for a handful of weeks now. Kind of see this finally get into the ring was awesome. Well, I thought this match was great.
yeah.
Both Lash Legend and Jada Parker are phenomenal talents, and I love the fact that I'm able to say that because when Lash Legend first debuted, I was no, not at all. Like I was like, who is this? Get her off my TV. Not just the lashing out segments, but which that she had that backstage talk show thing. But
God.
her in ring work too. I didn't think was great. Um, Thank you, Ryan. Obafemi was the last breakout tournament winner.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Lash, she's come so far in such a short amount of time. Her ring presence is certainly like developed quite a bit. She and Jada put on one hell of a show. Lash picked up the win, and I was a little. as much as I was just gushing about Lash, I was a little bit disappointed that Lash picked up the wins. I felt like Jada Parker really needed a solid win. Like most of her matches lately, she's losing. She lost
Yeah.
at Heat Wave and things like that. But right after the match, as Lash was walking to the back, Jada Parker got up, attacked her, put her through the barricade. So even though Jada didn't get a win, he certainly got a visual win
Yeah.
over Lash. Like I said, I thought this was great, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do to kind of bring this feud to a conclusion. David, on the match.
Well, I always love seeing Jada Parker. I mean, and so does everyone else. You can tell when she comes out, everyone just starts chanting her, chanting Miss Parker. She has like charisma. She has like an overabundance of charisma. I mean, she just literally
Oh God, yeah.
it's just incredible. And Lash Legend, I never really had much of a thought about her except, man, that's one big lady. But then I've seen her come, with when she was part of Metaphor. Um, it started improving, but since she broke, specifically since she broke away from Metaphor, yeah, like you said, she's got a great ring presence. The whole bougie bully thing, that she's got going on. She's not over the top with it, but she's very obviously very arrogant, very full of herself. But it's not over the top like Chantel Monroe from Evolve, which that's another story in and of itself. But yeah, great match. I mean, they did really really well together. My only complaint is that Lash should never do that lash extension on the announce desk ever again. That's
Yeah.
not a move that looks good because she's basically dropping her from waist level. And so, it was like Jada was only just literally several inches above the announce desk when she released her from that hole. So not a good. It looks good in the ring though. At first, the first time I ever saw her do that, I'm like, what the hell is she doing here? And now it's like, okay, that's a pretty cool move, especially when I saw her, try to wrap up Nia Jax in that move. I'm like, holy moly, because Lash Legend is just unbelievably strong, and I'm surprised that she's still walking after Nia Jax, literally, like squished her into nothingness there a couple of weeks ago. I thought she was going to be legitimately injured. And I do have to mention too, Jada Parker did not lose at Heat Wave. That was the most bogus call I've ever seen. Her shoulder,
Oh
that left
God, I
shoulder was
know.
up. And I'm like, no, no, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, oh my god, she was nowhere near being pinned. Her left shoulder was up, bigger than Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. But yeah, that wasn't good. But anyway,
Yeah.
this match tonight that was great, and I want to see Jada picking up some more wins too. But at least she got her heat back after the match because she took it to her and put her through the barricade there. And because she was up, Lash was done. She was walking to the back, and next thing you know, Jada Parker's getting up and she's storming out of the ring, going right back after her. So this definitely is not over. I don't mind seeing more of this at all. Could definitely stand to see another match or two of these two against each other. But ultimately, um, yeah, I think Jada Parker is going to come out on top of this. I think she is probably not too terribly far away from taking a next step here.
I hope not. I hope, or sorry, I hope so rather. Because like it's undeniable how over she really is.
Yeah.
The granted at Heatwave she was the first entrance, I believe, but I don't think there was actually there was one entrance that was louder than Jada Parker's at Heatwave from the in person's perspective, and it was Chelsea Green.
Oh
Um,
my God.
He was so over in that building. It was
That
insane.
was crazy. Yeah, she was crazy over Chelsea Green. I was like, it's like, man, you guys, if you think this USA versus Canada thing is gonna make people hate Chelsea Green, you're sadly,
There were
sadly
solid
mistaken.
there were solid Canada chants in the building, like over USA. They were like everybody in the building is booing the heck out of Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele.
This isn't
And
1985 anymore, though, Nate.
exactly.
This is, and when are they going to understand? First of all, the foreign heel gimmick that is not, let's leave that back in 1985 where it belongs. Nobody believes it now. Nobody believes it, and in the first place, nobody believes it. In the second place, all this, hoorah USA stuff. You can't just throw that flag, throw the American flag on someone and expect them to be cheered. That's an outdated gimmick.
Yep.
That's an outdated That's an outdated storyline. You can't do the whole USA versus
No.
anyone anymore. It's nobody cares about foreign heels. Nobody buys it anymore. And Chelsea Green is just so talented. And I mean, not just in it, but I mean, her character is just, I mean, you love to hate her. What
Oh,
can I say?
absolutely.
You love to
Yeah.
hate her.
Yeah.
And
Like,
just,
I mean, she's really like figured out how to get herself over. I mean, even before she hit NXT, I mean, she was over on the Indies. Um, or not NXT, WWE rather,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, it was undeniable, like the just how over she was in that building. Um, and at least, in Lowell, I mean, there is it's a large Hispanic population. Um, we're also, Massachusetts, it's a blue state. I think there were a lot of people in that building that just did not want to
Mm,
chant for the USA,
yeah.
with the state of the current politics. So I think between that and just Chelsea Green being as over as she is, and Ethan Page for that matter too.
Yeah.
Like wow, they really took it there.
Ethan Page is one of the best heels in the business right now, in my opinion.
I would
Uh,
I would agree with you there, 100%.
because, and I'll tell you why, because, and even though, that's why it's a unique pairing with him and Chelsea, because people still love Chelsea. No one cheers for Ethan Page by himself. Because that to me, and that's the mark of a true heel. This whole cool heel stuff again. That stuff just that doesn't cut. Ethan Page is just he's a son of a what. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's just yeah. You want to see somebody just beat his face in, and so he's great, and he's a true heel right now. But going back to what I guess we got off track again here, so I'm sorry about that. But
That's okay. It happens.
it does. Lash Legend, she is definitely coming into her own, and she's doing very very well. But Jada Parker, yeah, she's got that it factor, and that you can't manufacture. She just has it.
No, she does. The charisma, she just oozes charisma.
Yes.
Um, and I've said it 1,000 times on the show. I'm gonna say it again. When I went to NXT back in December in the same building, but back just for an NXT taping, Jada Parker, she was one of the only people during commercial, her and Luca Crucifino, that were actually like talking with the crowd during commercial breaks.
Oh,
When
really?
yeah, like she knows her character. Um, and I feel like more than anybody else. I don't know much about Jada Parker, the person. I don't even know her real name off the top of my head. Um,
I
but I can
got a
only
funny
imagine.
story about that.
But I can only imagine she's like just an extension of herself in that particular character. And now I need to know the funny story.
Well, I heard her announce from when I was first started, when I first saw her a while back. I heard her being announced from Port St. Lucie. My kid's mother is from Port St. Lucie.
Oh, nice.
And so one night I said, hey, do you? And I looked her up. I looked up her real name. It escapes me at the moment, but I said, hey, do you know this person? Yeah, I went to school with her. What about her?
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I said, well,
Tiana Lillian Marie
yeah, yeah,
Caffey.
Kathy, yeah,
Caffey.
yeah, because my kid's mother actually went to school with her. She was in the same grade as her older brother, Timmy. So she remembered Timmy, and she remembered Tiana. And she said, yeah, she was always always an athletic girl, but very outgoing. But yeah, that's funny. Because she's not a wrestling fan at all. My kid's mother not a wrestling fan at all. But I showed her this, and she just she's like, wait, what? What? Are you?
Wait, she's famous now? What? That's
Yeah,
cool. It's a
yeah.
small
So
world.
yeah, it really is. But yeah, she is just she can talk. Oh my God. I mean, she can talk. She's quick-witted, and it's just you know she's got it. She's going to be a big star on the main roster. There's no doubt in my mind that
No,
here
same.
someday, very probably sooner rather than later, she will be a big star on the main roster.
When she wins, and I'm saying when she wins the NXT title or her
Yeah.
first world title, the pop is going to be insane. It's going to be
Oh,
absolutely insane.
well, the fans absolutely love her, and she started to kind of soften her. I won't say soften her image, but she did walk up to Lola Vice and congratulate her, and was very, very cool about things. And then, of course, Lash Legend came in. And she's like, "Get out of my face!" And so yeah,
Yep.
it's going to be a good. Feud's obviously not over, but yeah, this has got to ultimately um, lead to Jada getting a title here very soon.
I hope so. I definitely hope
Yeah.
so. All right, we got one more thing to talk about here tonight, and that was Trick Williams. He comes out to the ring and grabs a mic. He claims that he's outgrown NXT. Calls himself the greatest competitor to come out of NXT. I don't know if he used those words exactly, but that's essentially what he said.
Somewhere
That he's
along those lines. He was
yeah,
putting
somewhere
himself
along.
over like he usually does.
Exactly. As you were talking about the cool heel a little while ago, that's what he was out there
Yeah.
trying to do.
Yeah.
Put himself over um, and all of a sudden I heard some music that I haven't heard in a long time. Heard
I know.
We heard DIY come out to their NXT music, their Chrome Hearts music. Um, I popped so hard when I heard that riff for the first time. Um, NXT or sorry DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, they came back to NXT, arguably two of the greatest to come out of NXT. The feud between the two of them back in the NXT Black
Oh
and Gold
my
days
goodness.
was phenomenal. It was before I was on the show, but I was certainly watching from the sidelines. Um, uh, to the point where, as I said, I mean, uh, heck, I was going through some stuff in my life, and I pulled out my DIY shirt at a very good moment. I was getting dressed one day and kind of going through some stuff, and I saw the "Nobody Will Do It For You," and I ended up getting it right there. Like that's what DIY means to me. And so seeing them come out tonight, like I mean. I hate to say I almost had tears in my eyes, but I kind of did. It was a pretty emotional moment for me. It was not just for me, but also for Kevin Katani. Kevin says, "Salutations, gents. I hope this email finds you well. Is there anything more comforting than seeing DIY on my NXT programming again? I
Mhm.
miss those guys in the black and gold brand, and I'd love to see them work a program right now. Additionally, additionally, even if half of the names they mentioned show up on NXT in the future, I think that'd be great for the brand. It's been a while since an NXT original had a prolonged program on the show. What do y'all think?" That's it for now. Thanks as always. Go VIP and listen to 8YB. Office hours are now over. Um, I So yeah. So anyway, Ciampa and Gargano, they come out and basically tell Trick, I don't think you're really the greatest of all time. They run down all of their accolades within NXT. Tommaso being a two-time NXT champion, both of them being NXT Tag Team champions, Gargano being the first NXT Grand Slam champion. And then Tommaso says he doesn't want to talk anymore and just kind of clocks Trick. We saw them hit the meet in the middle on Trick to kind of end the segment. But I'm assuming we're going to see a feud between DIY, Trick, and somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else is going to be necessarily, but I'm wondering if maybe he brings back an older NXT name. Um, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Maybe somebody. Well, I was going to say Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens on the sidelines. So maybe Sammy's not a heel. But bring back somebody to fight alongside him as an NXT great. So there's
If Andrade were a heel right now, that would be an incredible
yeah, that
choice.
would be good. Yeah. If I mean, they did bring up Glorious. Bobby Roode, obviously, he's a producer now. He's not wrestling anymore. He's retired. But hey, maybe he's got one more match in him. I don't think, as much as I like Bobby Roode, I don't think anybody would necessarily care about that. But
They brought up the Undisputed too.
yeah, he did, and I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously Adam Cole, I think he's on the sidelines with some health issues right now. And I don't think anybody else from the Undisputed Era is like unsigned or in TNA to jump over. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure who we're going to get. Ryan in the chat just did bring up Carmelo Hayes. Maybe I could. There's part of, because that is one name that I did think of, but I feel like Trick has wanted to try and distance himself from Carmelo. Like that's kind of just his whole character is like, no, I'm better than Melo. I'm better Melo.
Yeah,
Like,
because they're even chanting Mello
yeah,
tonight.
yeah. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? I'm surprised I still remember that. But yeah, so anyway, I thought this was a great segment. Did some great fan service here. Awesome to see these two come back to NXT. Anytime they come back to NXT, it's great. Ciampa especially. Ciampa's like my guy. From his time in NXT, even on the main. Sorry, I meant to say on the Indies, not the main roster. He's a local guy for me. Went to a local school here in North Andover, Mass. So I mean, I watched him on the Indies. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. It was like Johnny Penmanship or something like that. Or Tommy or something like that. In Chaotic Wrestling. But so I mean, he's somebody I've followed for years and years and years. And then to watch him kind of become NXT champion and all that was just so cool. So to see him back here tonight alongside his tag team partner was awesome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with this feud. But on DIY and Trick.
I love DIY. I started watching NXT right around the time when Ciampa turned on Gargano. That was when I first started watching it. So I missed the part of the era where they were a team, but I've seen them, as a team, lately on the main roster, and I did see the feud was one of the greatest. Those were some of the best matches I have ever seen. Was Gargano versus Ciampa. Um, and of course, somebody like that, even though they're playing the heels over on the main roster right now, they come into NXT and they can easily play the babyface role because of them, just because of who they are. And so, yeah, that was a great segment. Really good to see DIY back. I love the main roster surprises on NXT. Even Nia Jax and Chelsea Green and some of the other people that have come in, over the last, year or so, to do, little spots on NXT. I love Bailey. I love seeing it. And so, yeah, it's great. And I don't know who they could get. Obviously, they may set, they're going to set something up here, but I don't know. Again, I don't think it'd be Carmelo. It's just not the right fit. Even though that would be a hell of a good match.
Oh God, it would be
Because
amazing.
Carmelo can, phew, man, that dude can go. Which I hope they can do a lot more with him on the main roster. I don't think they've done him justice on the main roster at all.
I agree.
Which is par for the course with most NXT people, unfortunately, except they do seem to be making a big deal out of Stephanie Vaquer, which I'm happy to see them putting her in the correct position here at least. But yeah, not sure where it's going to lead. I like the segment, and I am anxious to see who Trick pulls up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it be another NXT alumni. Just don't know who it could be at this point.
Ooh, I wonder if it's. Wonder about Nick Nemeth. He's in TNA. He's a former NXT champion.
Is he? I thought is he still not? Oh yeah, you're right. He's in TNA. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in TNA. So that could be
that would be a good pick actually.
Yeah.
With him being TNA champion right now too.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That could certainly be interesting. So
yeah,
I don't know. I got to think about it a little bit more, but that's one that just came to mind.
Yeah, a lot of different ways that can go there.
Yes.
Yeah, because him being TNA champion, obviously he has a pick of TNA talent now that he could bring in. And if it's someone like what's her face, Ash by Elegance, someone who's former WWE person who's now in TNA, yeah, that could be an interesting pick for sure.
Yeah. Steve Repsher just saying that we do have Homecoming in 2 weeks. So so being at Full Sail back where it all began, although I mean I guess it really all began as a game show, but we don't talk about that. We pretend that doesn't exist. So all right, well with that I think that's going to bring us to the end of our show. I'm Nate Lindberg. You can catch me here every week talking NXT. David did the live report tonight for Kelly. It also always posts up an alternate perspective report. So check those out. David, thank you very much for filling in for Kelly tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having me. And also, if you've not checked it out, I do also Evolve on Wednesday nights on Tubi. So that's where you'll see people like Callie Armstrong and another blue chipper that they've featured in NXT lately, Kendall Gray. There's some good talent over on Evolve. It's definitely worth taking a look. So, thank you for having me on, Nate. It's been a pleasure.
As always. And as always, we will leave you with Horseshoe. Take care.